Right, ready to dive deep into credit scores. We've got a video you sent over that breaks down the basics, but
Yeah.
let's unpack it even further. Think of this as like your credit score boot camp.
Ooh.
All the tips and tricks to really level up your score.
Oh, I love that. Boot camp for your credit.
Right?
Yeah, because understanding the why behind the numbers is just as important as knowing the numbers themselves.
Absolutely. Okay,
Okay.
so first things first. Why should we even care about this three-digit number? It's not like it's,
Right.
tattooed on our foreheads.
Well, maybe not literally, but in the financial world,
Yeah.
it might as well be. Think of it as your financial reputation, that quick snapshot that tells lenders
Okay.
how responsible you are with money.
Yeah, and the video mentioned how a good score helped the speaker save a ton of money
Mm-hmm.
on closing costs.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty motivating.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's just one example. A good credit score unlocks so many doors.
Yep.
Better interest rates, easier loan approvals,
Wow.
even perks and rewards. It's like a VIP pass to the financial world.
Okay, I'm sold. So let's break it down. The video highlighted 5 key ingredients in this credit score recipe.
Yeah.
First up, payment history. A whopping 35% of the score. Why is that the most important factor?
Well, it all boils down to trust. Lenders want to know that you'll consistently pay back what you borrow
Oh.
and your payment history. That's the most reliable predictor.
Mhm.
It's like your track record proving you keep your financial promises.
Makes sense. But what if, let's say you miss a payment early on, like the video talked about, is your credit doomed forever?
Not necessarily. The impact of a missed payment, it does diminish over time as your credit history grows.
Okay.
Think of it like a small stain on a white shirt.
Ah,
It's noticeable at first, but the more you wash it,
Right.
the less and less visible it becomes.
got it. So does that mean I need to stress about paying my card in full every month to keep my score, like, perfect?
That's a common misconception. While paying in full is ideal to avoid those interest charges, simply making the minimum payment on time consistently, that shows lenders you're responsible. It's like showing up for class every day, you're demonstrating commitment.
Okay, that's a relief. Ingredient number 2, credit utilization.
Okay.
This one seems a bit more complex. What exactly does it mean, and why does it make up 30% of the score?
Credit utilization is basically how much of your available credit you're actually using.
Okay.
So imagine you have a credit card with a $10,000 limit.
Hmm.
If you spend $9,000, your utilization is 90%.
Whoa.
Even if you pay it off in full each month. High utilization, that can be a red flag.
Really? So it's not just about paying on time, but also how much of my limit I'm using. Why do lenders care so much about this?
It's not about being picky. It's about assessing risk. High utilization suggests you might be relying heavily on credit,
Nice.
which makes you more vulnerable if unexpected expenses come up.
Got it. So keeping my balances low, even if I pay in full, helps show I'm managing things well.
Exactly.
Now, in the video, the speaker had a bunch of credit cards with high limits. Is
Right.
that part of their strategy?
Absolutely. Having access to more credit with those high limits can help keep your utilization low,
Go.
even if your spending stays the same.
That's pretty smart. So requesting credit limit increases is a good move then.
It can be, but remember, it's important to use those increased limits responsibly.
Right. Don't go crazy just because you have a higher limit.
Exactly. A high credit limit is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used wisely or unwisely.
Okay.
It's all about having a solid plan and sticking to it.
Okay, on to ingredient number 3, average length of credit history. This one makes up 15% of the score.
Okay.
I have to admit, patience isn't my strongest suit. Why does my credit history length even matter?
Think of it like a long-term relationship.
Oh,
The longer you've been with someone, the more trust and understanding you build.
all right.
Similarly, a longer credit history shows you can manage credit responsibly over time.
So it's like proving to lenders that you're in it for the long haul.
Exactly. And the key here is average length of history. The video mentioned closing old cards can hurt your score.
Yeah, it's tempting to declutter, especially those cards we never use.
I know, it seems counterintuitive.
Right.
But keeping those old accounts open, even if they're gathering dust, can actually benefit your score.
Interesting.
They contribute to that longer average length of history, which lenders love.
So those old cards are like vintage wine. They get better with age. Okay, next up. Credit mix. 10% of the score.
All right.
What's the deal with credit mix?
Credit mix is all about showcasing your ability to manage different types of credit responsibly.
Okay.
It's like having a diverse portfolio of investments. It shows you're not putting all your eggs in one basket.
So having a mix of credit cards, maybe a car loan or a mortgage, that shows I can handle different types of debt.
Precisely. Lenders want to see that you can juggle various financial responsibilities without dropping the ball.
Gotcha. It's all about showing lenders you're a responsible borrower, right?
Yes.
Okay, last ingredient. New credit inquiries. This makes up the final 10%. What are inquiries exactly, and why are they even a factor?
Every time you apply for a new credit card or loan, the lender checks your credit report.
Right.
This triggers a hard inquiry, basically a record of that check.
So if I'm shopping around for a new card and apply to a few different companies, that can hurt my score.
Yes. Too many hard inquiries in a short time can be a red flag.
Oh, okay.
It makes lenders wonder if you're desperate for credit or taking on more debt than you can handle.
So timing is key.
Exactly. Be strategic, especially before big purchases like a house or a car.
Makes sense.
The good news is the impact lessens over time, and they only stay on your report for 2 years.
That's good to know. The speaker in the video mentioned starting to build credit early on. Is that why they seem so unfazed by inquiries?
That's likely part of it. Building credit early allows those inquiries to age and have less impact later.
Ah, so it gives those inquiries time to fade into the background. Smart. So we've covered the 5 main ingredients of the credit score recipe.
Yes.
Any additional tips to keep in mind?
One thing to remember is that achieving a good credit score, it's not a destination, it's a journey.
Oh, I like that.
It's about making consistent, responsible choices over time.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. And remember, there are resources to help you along the way.
Okay.
Financial advisors, credit counseling services, they can give personalized guidance.
Great advice. All right, deep divers. Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll delve deeper into strategies for tackling each of these credit score ingredients and boosting your score.
We'll explore the nuances of credit utilization, dive deeper into inquiries, and share practical tips for managing your credit like a pro.
We'll be right back. Welcome back, deep divers. Ready to get tactical with our credit scores.
Absolutely. Let's jump right into some strategies, starting with that credit utilization we talked about.
Okay, yeah, because it's not just about how much we spend. It's like that ratio to our credit limit, right?
Exactly. High utilization can make you seem riskier, even if you're paying everything off each month. It might make them think you're, stretched a bit thin.
Okay, so besides those multiple high-limit cards, what are some other ways to manage utilization?
Well, one simple thing is to make multiple payments throughout the month,
Oh, interesting.
instead of just waiting for the due date.
So if I know a big purchase is coming, I could make a few smaller payments first.
Yeah, exactly. Free up some space on that limit.
Makes sense. What about requesting credit limit increases? I've always been kind of hesitant to do that.
I understand. It feels like you're asking for trouble.
Yeah, like I might get tempted to spend more.
But remember, a credit limit is just that, a limit. It doesn't mean you have to spend it.
True.
It's more about having that cushion to keep utilization low.
Okay, so it's like a bigger safety net, just in case.
Exactly. And the best part is, it often doesn't even need a hard inquiry.
Really?
Many issuers let you request it online using your existing history.
So it's a potential score boost without the inquiry.
Ding!
Nice. Speaking of hard inquiries,
Yeah.
how much damage does a single one really do?
Well, it depends. Your current score, your history length, even the type of credit. But generally, it might just be a small dip, a few points.
Okay, not too bad. But still good to be mindful of timing, especially for big purchases.
Absolutely. And here's a tip. When you're rate shopping for loans, like mortgages, multiple inquiries in a short time are usually treated as one.
Oh, that's good to know.
They know you're comparing offers to find the best deal.
It's like getting quotes for a project. You wouldn't just go with the first one you get.
Exactly. Okay, let's shift gears to average age of credit history.
All right, because patience isn't my strong suit.
I hear ya. Well, besides keeping those old accounts open,
Yeah.
another strategy is becoming an authorized user on someone else's card.
Wait, so I can benefit from someone else's good credit?
Yeah, becoming an authorized user, you can sometimes benefit from their positive history.
Interesting. Are there any downsides to that?
Well, not all issuers report authorized user activity to the bureaus.
So gotta check first.
Right, and the impact can vary depending on the scoring model. Some give it more weight than others.
So it's not a guaranteed slam dunk.
Right, it's always best to focus on building your own independent credit for the long term.
Okay, good advice. Now, what about credit mix? Does it really matter if I have, say, 3 credit cards versus just 1?
While multiple cards can help with utilization, it's more about the mix of different types of credit.
Oh, I see.
Like a credit card, a car loan, a student loan, shows you can handle different obligations.
So it's not just about the number of cards, it's about that variety.
Exactly. Like being a multi-instrumentalist, you
Ooh,
might specialize in one, but knowing others shows versatility.
I like that analogy. Any last words of wisdom for our credit score journey?
Remember, it's an ongoing process. Conscious choices, staying informed, being proactive. Regularly check your credit report for errors.
Like giving your credit a checkup. Welcome back, deep divers. We've covered the nuts and bolts of credit scores, but now it's time to get into the psychology of credit.
Okay.
This is where things get really interesting, right?
Oh, absolutely. This is where we see how our emotions and behaviors can actually influence our financial decisions, often without us even realizing it.
It's like there's this whole hidden layer beneath the surface.
Exactly. A hidden layer.
Okay, so what are some of these hidden forces that we should be aware of when it comes to, credit and our scores?
Well, one common trap is that I deserve it mentality.
Oh, yeah.
We work hard, we face challenges, and we often turn to spending as a way to reward ourselves or even just cope with stress.
Oh, I am definitely guilty of that.
Yeah.
A little retail therapy never hurt anyone, right?
Well, it can hurt your credit score
Hmm.
if those treat yourself moments turn into,
Yeah,
a pattern of overspending and high credit card balances.
right. So it's about finding that balance between, enjoying life and also staying responsible, I guess.
Exactly. It's about being mindful of those spending triggers and finding healthier ways to manage stress or reward ourselves. Maybe it's a relaxing walk in nature,
Right.
a phone call with a friend, or even learning a new skill.
Shifting our focus from material rewards to experiences and activities. I love that.
Yeah.
What are some other psychological hurdles we might come across?
Another big one is FOMO, the fear of missing out.
Oh, yeah, that's a real thing.
Social media constantly shows us images of people, living these perfect lives, traveling to exotic destinations, buying all the latest gadgets.
It's tough to resist sometimes.
Yeah,
Especially when it feels like everyone else is, living the high life.
absolutely. But remember, those online personas rarely tell the whole story. And comparing ourselves to others, well, that can lead to some unwise financial decisions
Yeah, that makes
that
sense.
sabotage our goals.
So maybe a little social media detox every now and then can help, right? Just focus on our own journey.
That's a great idea. It's about consciously choosing who and what we allow to influence us.
Curate those online feeds to include, accounts that inspire and motivate us.
Exactly. Surround yourself with positivity. Now, let's talk about a less glamorous pitfall,
Okay.
the ostrich effect.
Ah, you mean burying our heads in the sand, ignoring those credit card statements?
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't work that way.
No.
Avoiding our finances only makes the anxiety worse.
It's like letting those bills pile up on the counter. The longer you wait, the scarier it gets.
Exactly. We need to confront our finances head on.
Deep breath. Open the statements.
Yes. And create a realistic budget.
And there's so many apps now that can help with that, right?
Absolutely. Technology can be a great tool in this journey. But remember, technology is just that, a tool.
Right.
The real transformation happens in our minds.
Okay, so we talked about things to avoid. What are some positive shifts we can make to, improve our relationship with credit?
One powerful shift is cultivating a delayed gratification mindset.
Oh, interesting.
It's about resisting those impulse purchases and saving up for what truly matters.
Teaching ourselves patience and discipline.
Exactly. And it not only helps us reach our goals, it also reduces our reliance on credit for those unplanned expenses.
Being intentional with our money, making choices that align with our long-term vision.
Precisely. Another positive shift is focusing on a security mindset
Okay.
rather than a scarcity mindset.
So instead of always feeling behind, we focus on building a solid foundation for stability and peace of mind.
Exactly. This shift can reduce anxiety and help us make good decisions for our well-being.
Think about reframing our whole view of money.
Yes.
Less fear, more empowerment and abundance.
Exactly. And that shift can be transformative not just for our credit scores, but for our lives as a whole.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive into credit scores, any final thoughts for our listeners?
Building and maintaining good credit, it's a journey. It's about making conscious choices, staying informed, and seeking support when needed.
And remember, there are resources out there, like financial advisors,
Yes.
to help guide us along the way.
Absolutely.
It's not about perfection, it's about progress.
Well said.
building a healthy, sustainable relationship with money that helps us live with confidence and freedom.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So until next time, deep divers, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep striving for financial well-being.